Hello, everybody. This is the Adafruit CircuitPython Weekly for August 27th, 2018. I'm Scott, and I work on CircuitPython for Adafruit. CircuitPython is an easy-to-use embedded Python that runs on little tiny computers called microcontrollers. They're very inexpensive and a great way to get people into programming because they're programming physical devices. So this is a meeting that we hold every week for our CircuitPython community, including the folks paid to work on CircuitPython and those who choose to do it in their spare time. This meeting happens every week, Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and everybody's welcome to join. You can join our Discord, where we text chat all week, and then we will also. Oh, I just realized I had a window in the way. We text chat in Discord all week, and then if you want to join the voice chat, we do that on Mondays, as I said. To join that, you do adafru.it/discord. It's a URL. It's a short link. It'll redirect you to our Discord invite link and get you in our Discord. So everybody's welcome to listen as it goes. We do record this, so if you are in the voice chat or text chat, beware that we are recording. We'll post it on the Adafruit YouTube, which is youtube.com/Adafruit. We've got a playlist there, so if you want to go back and listen to previous shows or link people to particular parts, that's a great way to do it. We also do take notes with time codes, so if you want to be able to kind of see what we talked about in this about hour-long meeting that we have, you can check out the notes, and there will be time codes in there for you to be able to skip around to do that. We have kind of four sections to this meeting. The first is we have a state of CircuitPython, which is kind of a statistics overview of how the CircuitPython project has been going in the last week. And then after that, we'll do hug reports, which is a chance for everybody to say thank you to other folks for the work they've been doing. And we do that in a round robin format where I will start, and then we'll go through the list of people in the voice channel. If you don't have a mic, feel free to type it in, and I'll read it out. Or if you are just lurking and you don't want to participate, that's totally cool too. Just let us know, and we'll skip over you. So after hug reports, we'll do status updates, which is a very kind of software engineering thing, kind of known as a stand-up, where you take 1 to 2 minutes to talk about both what you've been doing in the last week and what you plan on doing in the next week. And it's a great way to get everybody on the same page in terms of who's doing what, and also get tips and tricks from other people about the work that you're doing. And then lastly, we have a discussion / in the weeds section where we talk about any longer form topics or questions that have come up earlier in the meeting, or somebody just wants to talk about. And just like last week, what we'll do is, like, if you're in the meeting itself and you have topics that you want to cover in the weeds section, just type them into the text chat, and I'll gather those in the notes, and then we'll go through those once we get to that section. So yeah, let's get going. I'll take a time code here and do the state of CircuitPython. So this is a script that I run every night before the meeting. So these statistics are up to date as of last night. Not only does it cover core CircuitPython repo, but it does also cover the newsletter and the libraries, which is really neat too. So here's some numbers. We've had 22 pull requests merged in the last week, which is more and more becoming the norm for us, which is awesome. We've had 11 authors, and in particular, I want to shout out Aerofarn, who did their first fix PR, but also did the French translation, I believe. So thanks to Aerofarn. And also shout out to everybody else who did it. Everybody else is a repeated contributor, so that's awesome. For those 22 pull requests, we had 6 reviewers, so it would be awesome to get it to the point where we had just as many reviewers as authors. So if you haven't reviewed before, check out the guide that Kattni did on GitHub contributions, and then please do reviews. They're just as important as pull requests. Given that we had 22 merged, we still have 16 open, so that's a perfect chance if you're interested in doing reviews. Review involves looking at the code, making sure it makes sense, and then also testing it if it has to do with hardware or what hardware it needs to be tested on. Issues wise, so issues are just feature requests or bugs that people have come across with. We've got 8 closed issues by 4 people and 7 opened by 5 people, so we're right about the same as we were last week, which is good. And again, we have kind of equal numbers of people closing and opening. Overall, we've got 144 open issues, which is a bit higher than we've been, kind of right around the 3.0 release, but it's not too bad. And again, there's plenty of issues open on different libraries, so if you want to help out and jump in on library support, please check those out. Download stats, I released 3.01 last Monday, I believe, and so 6 days total downloads of 699. And again, like very common, the highest download rates are for the Circuit Playground Express and the Trinket M0. If you want to know more details, Feather M0 is at 98 as well. If you want to see all those numbers, feel free to check out the notes later. We've got 86 repos in PyPI, which is awesome. And we do have some linting cleanup tasks that we could do that are listed in the notes as well, but I won't go over those. So that is, and then I usually summarize state of CircuitPython. So we're still very much in the state of 3.0's out and stable, which gives us a lot of breathing room to experiment with what 4.0 will be. I think Dan will talk a little bit about that later. Yeah, we're in the early phases of 4.0 and still trying to work out a couple kinks with 3.0, which is good as well. So yeah, good spot to be in. All right, I'll take a time code now and do Hug Reports. So Hug Reports is a chance for you to say thank you to folks in the community for the work that they've done in the last week, or if they haven't gotten called out before that, is totally cool too. It's a great way to be able to thank people for the work that they've been doing. So I will start. And I have two bullet points this time. I wanted to thank Summersoft and Lady Ada for helping Shep Tech on Discord. They were super helpful, and that was like the first time Shep Tech has jumped into the Discord, so got a very good first impression thanks to Summersoft and Lady Ada. So thank you both for that. And then I also wanted to thank Ash0x1b on GitHub for reporting an issue with Neopixels in 3.01. Basically, we adjusted the timing between 3.01 or 3.00 and 3.01, and actually broke the timing for SK6812s that are powered at 3 volts, not 5 volts, with like the built-in status pixels on the Feather. So Jerry, after Ash reported it, Jerry went and fixed it, which is so thanks to Jerry as well for doing that. So those are my Hug reports, and let's start the round robin with Brent.
Hug report to Lady Ada for assistance with Neopixel and Blanca, and then Katney for PyPy testing, and Brennan, of course, for all their work. Still really happy that I can work really quickly doing prototyping with IO and Blanca. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's working out really well. They've done a nice job. Thanks, Brent. All right, Carter.
Group hug, of course, and a big one to Lady Ada for taking off on the PN532 NFC stuff. She totally just rocked that out this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounded really tricky, so she did really nice work with that. Okay, I think Charles is lurking, so I'm going to skip over Charles. Charles, speak up in the text chat if that's not the case. Go ahead, Dan.
Thanks a lot to Katney and Brennan for continuing, for kind of polishing off the PyPying. As Brent mentioned, it was just a huge amount of work, and you're already seeing so many people using it in the forums, finding small issues, but must be a lot of other people who are trying it and having it work. And thanks a lot to TAC, who's continuing to work on our NRF52. We're working really closely with him. He's on the other side of the world, so we don't usually see him in here, but he's fixing a lot of bugs, and he's working on both CircuitPython and the Arduino parts for NRF52. And thanks to Summersoft for continuing to work on frequency and really persevering with that, which is really great. Notro has been fixing bugs as he finds them. He fixed very nicely. He fixed some Control C bug. There's something else which was pulled in this morning. And that's just really great and very helpful because we'd have to work on that stuff ourselves. And then thanks, obviously, for the Neopixel stuff. Okay, thank you. All right.
Thanks, Dan. All right, Deshipu? Are you around? Deshipu is typing. I'll wait just a bit and read it out. My heart goes to all the people who struggled with Neopixels again. Yeah, Neopixels are finicky. All right. I'm gonna jump in and read Lady Ada's as well. So I might mix a couple here, but they're all thanks, so that's good. Lady Ada said mega hugs to Summersoft for being the NRF52 buddy, and is typing some more. Also, a big round of applause for Kattni and Brennan, who did 45 guides and tested and updated them for Raspberry Pi support, which is very impressive. What kind of smiley face is that? Let's see. Scream smiley face or emoji in response to that. Charles, it looks like I should be able to hear you, but I can't hear you, which is weird. Can anybody else hear Charles?
No, I cannot either.
Okay. All right, and then I'll wrap up Lady Ada. She says, they're on a well-deserved break, and we'll be back to do the remaining sensors/devices in Prens, but if people have requests, I can probably do one or two, open up an issue on CircuitPython. All right, thanks, Lady Ada, and we'll go to Josh.
Hello. So I'm that learn guide to the Circuit Playground Express guide, especially those who have done the CircuitPython section, because that's come in really handy for the EduBlocks editor this week.
Awesome. Authors of this CircuitPython Learn Guide. Okay, great. Okay, Mike. Is Mike distracted? Summersoft, you want to post now as well? All right, so Mike must be AFK. Summersoft did reply and said, thanks to Jeff Epler for running some tests on my PR, which is the frequency in PR. Jerry N for testing and troubleshooting the DHT on Raspberry Pi PR. And Lady Ada for working on a learn guide for NRF bootloader install, group hug to infinity and beyond. 10 points for the Toy Story reference for sure. All right, thank you everybody, and again, if you were unable to get a hugs out there, feel free to type them in later and I'll read them off. Next up is status updates. Status updates is a chance to just talk a little bit about what you've been working on and what you plan on working on in the upcoming week. It's a great way for people to know who's doing what and also give tips about like how things could be done. So I will start. I did the 3.01 release last week, which had 3 important fixes. I don't exactly remember what those fixes were. One was the Neopixel fix that turned out to break them in a different way. So Jerry's fixed that, and we'll probably do a 3.02 here this week sometime. probably before Wednesday, because that's when we have the live stream shows that can teach people about it. So I did that. I did the newsletter, which is my normal weekly stuff. And then I really have been focused on display and graphics support in 4.0. I made pretty good progress laying out like all the different classes and how they all interact. But I do have bugs to work out. I posted a picture. I guess I could post the picture here too, but oh yeah, I even have it pulled up. Perfect. So I've got stuff displaying on the screen, but it's not correct. That is the Adafruit logo of some form, but my bytes and bits are getting a little bit intermixed. So after I do the normal stuff today of this meeting and the newsletter, I'll be getting back to making sure that everything gets loaded correctly and displayed correctly. So check out that. Also, I should copy this over. If you're interested, Deshepu, I bet you are, to see the way that I'm doing it, here's a link to the working tree. Definitely subject to change, but that's where you can follow along my work if you're interested. All right, let's circle around to Brent.
Yeah, so I spent pretty much the past 2 weeks, I guess, working on a new series for a learning system called the I2c Home Guide, and it's going to use CircuitPython, which is really cool. Here's a picture. Yay, cardboard houses. And one I have a really big one that's like 3 stories.
Ooh.
And I don't know, but so the first one's going to be on lighting system, and then monitoring the temperature and humidity inside the house. So we'll start really basic. And the next one that's coming out maybe in the next 2 weeks is going to be home security. So that's going to actually be really cool on the CircuitPython side, because we're going to mix the PyCam stuff into Adafruit IO, and also keep PyCam from CircuitPython. I guess we're just going to mix and match with Blinka and IO, which is what I've been doing. But we'll also bring in another dependency. So it's going to be really cool to kind of see that if it works, and then kind of see it working.
Yeah. You'll get it working for sure.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about it. It's a cool concept.
Yeah, it looks really neat. I hadn't seen that picture of the house before, so.
Yeah, that was like 2 hours ago.
Awesome. We'll keep on rocking it. It looks really cool. All right, Carter.
Yeah, I saw that you merged in the TCA 954, whatever it's called, I2c Multiplexer. So that's in there. So what I need to do now is go back and actually get it into the bundle for release. And I think there was an issue out there, so I'll close that. So basically just some cleanup work on that. And then I got the PN532 hardware in and started playing with that and reading the data sheets and the app notes and all of that to get familiar with it. But like I mentioned, in the meantime, Lady Ada just started doing it herself, so more or less did the vast majority of the initial work. But I think there's still some work to be done to kind of CircuitPython it, for lack of a better term, to like make things more like at property driven. But it could easily be built on what she's already done in there. So I'll take a look at that and maybe start moving in that direction.
Great. Yeah, looks really cool. Thanks, Carter. All right, Dan.
So mainly I've been working on NRF52, different boards, and cleaning up the pin definition files for those boards to make sure they correspond with reality and the latest markings on the boards. And then this is in preparation for making sure that we do pin ownership, which we don't do right now. Right now, you can create multiple devices on the same pins, and it'll just screw up. So we have to fix that and put error messages in. That's pretty much it. Some very minor support work on like Windows drivers as usual. So, all right.
The king of Windows drivers. All right, Deshipu's typing. So I will read that out. Dishipu says the final prototype for Pew Pew standalone is working, and I have sent inquiries for quotes to the fabs to start production soon. I also wrote a bouncing ball tutorial for it at pewpew.readthedocs.io/en/latest/tutorial.html. And if you want that link again, check the notes. Make it easier and more accessible there instead. All right. Thanks, Dishipu. Josh.
So this week I have been working on the Circuit Playground CircuitPython entry blocks editor. So it's looking slightly different than it did a few weeks ago. Much more blocks added, and I have also pushed it live to a web server. So maybe tomorrow I will be able to share that link once some more work has been done. But yeah, it's definitely shaping up to look good now.
Yeah, it looks really good. Keep up the great work, Josh, and thanks for dropping in. All right, Mike.
Sorry, I got distracted with dog during hug reports, but I really wanted to thank Brent for all his work on CircuitPython, Adafruit IO, and the marathon work that Lady Ada's continually been doing as far as getting CircuitPython working just right with Linux boards like the Raspberry Pi, because it's a totally different world between small single board computers and microcontrollers in many ways. So it's really a tough task. But what I've been doing, I've been working on using CircuitPython to control a heating pad and a Peltier cooler via Cricut. So that there should be a tutorial out this week called "Make It Hot and Cold." So look for that. And I've been working on looking some of other people's guides. There's actually a really fun one by Dano Wall that's coming out. I won't spoil the surprise, but that one I think uses MakeCode, but it's really fun. If you're a CircuitPython person and want to have fun, just MakeCode's easy enough to just go into it. But and then Lady Ada has told me that we're going to be documenting there's a CircuitPython to MakeCode translator. So if you write CircuitPython, there's going to be a way to add things in. So all of the drivers that we've been making in CircuitPython will probably eventually work in MakeCode too. So it should be good stuff. But I mean, we can't do it all and test it all without the community support, and I'm very appreciative of people who have seen all of these new drivers for sensors and actually go ahead and wire things up and plug them in and make sure they're working. I'm putting out blog posts on about 5 drivers every other day, so you may see them in the thing in the Adafruit blogs, and that's about it. So if anybody would like to subscribe to the Python for Microcontrollers newsletter and haven't, I posted something earlier here on Discord, and you can also go into the Adafruit blogs, and I talk about it there. It's all spam-free, ad-free. Don't share your information with mailing list type things. So it's really really low friction. So I urge you to check it out if you're interested.
Cool. Yeah, thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate your help getting all the guides and stuff going. Since you joined, I've definitely seen the rate of guides getting out go up, which is awesome.
Well, I know it's Lady Ada's big thing that guides help show people how to use the programming and use the hardware, and are an important part of Adafruit's business model. So I'm really excited to be helping out and I just like showing people what's possible and then them taking it off from there.
Right.
It's really personally satisfying.
Totally. Awesome. We'll
Okay.
keep it up.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Summersoft. Says for frequency in, the PR is in. Worked one change already thanks to Jeff Epler's testing. Parentheses, bail out of endless interrupt loop. We'll continue to work on things as the review progresses. For NRF, the development kit finally kicked the tires on it last night. Windows 10 plus Vagrant is proving difficult for the bootloader. We'll push on it a little more, but may proceed with using Seger Embedded Studio. I'll document and screen grab either/both for possible inclusion in Lady Ada's Learn Guide. And then for the Pylint RC, the patch successful except one outlier which has a PR in. Please post a link to that PR, Summersoft, and we'll do that. Charles, if you want to just type in hug reports and status updates, feel free, and I'll read those off, and then we can hang out later and figure out why we can't hear you. Okay, now he's gone again. It can be a little finicky. Maybe. Let me just add Charles to our CircuitPython helpers, and maybe there are some permissions that he needs. Okay, thanks everybody. That was status updates. I love hearing everything that everybody is doing. If you have topics for in the weeds / discussion, please post those now. Ooh. All right, so this is the discussion / in the weeds section. Nothing came up during the discussion, so this might be a super quick meeting. But Josh did post a temporary subdomain for edgy blocks with the Circuit Playground Express and CircuitPython. So if you're curious about that, you can go to adafruit.edublocks.org and give that a chance. Okay. So got that. And then I'll take another time code here and we'll go to Carter.
Sure. Okay, so related to that I2c Multiplexer library. So a belated hug report to you for reviewing it and merging it.
Mm-hmm.
Should have mentioned that. So to put it in the bundle, I went back and was kind of reviewing how the process by which I've done that before. Yeah. And I just am questioning whether or not I'm doing it correctly. So the way I did it before was I would just fork the bundle repo and just hand hack the text file, the submodules or whatever text file.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty simple what needs to be done, and just add in the lines,
mm-hmm.
Save it, and send it back. And then also do a version release on the actual repo that's being put into the bundle. So it kind of all works hand in hand. But then I went back and I read your guide, Scott, on sharing the
mm-hmm.
repos or
mm-hmm.
sharing, creating and sharing CircuitPython libraries.
Right.
And your very last page in that describes a process for adding it to the community bundle. But I assume it might apply also to the Adafruit bundle,
yes.
and it's different. You kind of run some git submodule commands,
yep.
etc.
Yeah, it's git submodule add, and then it mutates the git modules file for you.
So am I doing it incorrectly by hand hacking the text file?
Maybe, because usually the commit will show 2 changes. It has the git modules change, but it also has it creates the folder basically. For the submodule as well.
Right.
So I'm not.
So basically,
yeah.
So basically, the short answer is I should follow what you've outlined in your guide.
That's the way that I've always done it. But if you manage to get it by hand editing it, then it might work. I just have never done it that way myself.
Well, it seemed to work from the last one I did, but that doesn't mean it was exactly the the right way to do it or the right way to do it moving forward. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was doing it the more proper way.
I think all that git module submodule add does is what you did. If you try to remove a module, that's a lot trickier. But we don't have to do that right now. Yeah.
Well, I'll try this time around. I'll try it your way, Scott, per your guide, and I will see what happens. So then my second question is also related to this, is version numbering. It's like before I kind of just looked what other people were doing, and I think it was like I just called it 0.0.1 for the first release and called it good.
Yeah.
But is there something better we should be doing?
I don't worry too much as long as we have the 3 numbers separated by periods. And the rule of thumb for those 3 is like the leftmost of the major version number is like if you broke an existing API, you should always increment that. The middle number is if you added new stuff, you do the middle number. It's called the minor version. And then the rightmost number is the patch version. And that's basically you didn't change any APIs, but you may have fixed it so that an API actually works as it was supposed to. Then if you want to get fancy, you can do dash alpha beta RC stuff as well. But generally for the libraries, we don't need that. And then, so this is all based on like semantic versioning. So if you're uncertain about its stability, like I would do something below 1.0.0. But when you're
gotcha. Like kind of like a beta release or something, maybe.
Yeah, I would do, like I tend to start at like 0.8.0, but it's all arbitrary. They're just numbers. The important bit is that it increases in those predictable ways.
Excellent. And it looks like, Dan, you're linking to something I can read.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a write-up of what this is semantic version. It's called semantic versioning.
Right. It's basically
excellent.
what I described, but
Yeah.
more formal.
Excellent. So for our first release, should we do 1.0 or 0.0.1?
It depends on how confident you are with the API. Like if it's something you want to, if you want to experiment with it, I would do less than 1.0 just to begin with. If you look in the Semver doc, you'll see that they actually explicitly talk about that pre 1.0 period. But yeah, they're just numbers.
Okay. Well, they're more than just numbers. There is a convention and some.
Yeah, it's
meaning to it, and I'll go read what's on that link.
Yeah, it's more about like changing from number to number than it is like which number do you start with, I guess.
Right. Okay.
Like exactly what I was talking about of like which number do you increment when you're doing a particular thing.
Right.
So yeah, that's the most important bit. And like when I seen releases done as well, like sometimes we'll just do like a 2.0, but that doesn't fit into semantic versioning. So being diligent about just having the 3 numbers is important as well.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. And it looks like Lady Ada just got out of a meeting, and I pinged her about status updates. And Charles, I'll hang out after the meeting and try to help you get your mic going. I know you've been trying to do that through the whole meeting, and I know it can be frustrating. So we can figure that out after the meeting is done and get you going for next week. Lady Ada for her status update says, let me take a time code. Status update is the PN532 driver is done, which is RFID card support in CircuitPython. And she says, I'm currently investigating libgpio D for CircuitPython support on the Pi. If anyone is excited to help, let me know. So if you've done low-level GPIO stuff, please let us know. In Linux, I mean. And then reach out to Lady Ada to help with that. We don't have a whole lot of experience. Like we had a meeting earlier, Dan and I did and Mike with Lady Ada, and she asked if we had ever done any of that stuff, and we said we hadn't. So it was kind of crickets. Which also reminds me, is if anybody's ever done PyPI packaging for something that compiles against a C library, we'd love help with that as well. To be able, I think it's this driver that she's talking about adding bindings to. So if you have packaging experience with Python, please reach out to us as well. And then Lady Ada, continuing her status update in the text chat, also says, and getting back to the NRF 52840, I started a guide for building / burning. We'll publish once we have USB working so people can experiment. Okay. Yeah. So Josh says for Python packaging, Gadgetoid from Pimoroni might... sounds like something he's done. And yes, I thought of that. I thought the Pimoroni people would be a good resource for that as well. And then Lady Ada also says, also did some Cricket hat testing, so far so good, which is a Raspberry Pi thing for Cricket. Awesome. Everybody's loving the Cricket emoji. All right. Are there any other discussion topics besides crickets? Crawling out of a pie party. Josh asks, is microbit cricket going to be a thing? And the answer is yes. Lady Ada says it's being manufactured today. All right, I'm going to wrap this up because nobody likes to listen to me just read text chat stuff. So this has been the Adafruit CircuitPython Weekly for August 20, I almost said January, I don't know why. August 27th, 2018. I'm Scott. I work on CircuitPython for Adafruit. Everybody's welcome to join this meeting. It happens Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern on Discord. Everybody is welcome to join our Discord, chat with us all week. It is the URL adafru.it/discord. Hop in the CircuitPython text channel and we'll be able to chat with you there. This is also recorded, so it goes up on the Adafruit YouTube videos. So you could do youtube.com/Adafruit. That recording includes both the audio and the text chat. So if you were listening in the car and you wanted to see what was going through in the text chat, please take a look at that. And then the last thing is that the link to this also goes in the newsletter, like Mike was talking about. We have a Python on Microcontrollers newsletter that you can join at adafruitdaily.com. It's just a once-a-week mailing list about all the things that we're aware of in the Python universe, both CPython, MicroPython, CircuitPython. Obviously, we do a lot of CircuitPython because we know what's going on there. But if you have links and stuff, it's also developed on GitHub, so we're happy to take pull requests for the next week's newsletter. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll talk with you all next week.